Exercise 7-19 is actually one of my pet peeve assignments in this book. There are several missing dimensions when it comes to locating these holes. Just estimate and use your best judgment to where to put them. I have put their centers at 8 up and 8 in from the sides, which is basically just centered where they are with a diameter of 6. Now, what I've done in this view, or on this drawing so far, is I've got my front view completely drawn out, completely detailed, all the information in that I need to have in. I have only enough of the top view to show this cutout and where the location of these holes are, and for the right side view the same thing, the cutout and the location of the holes. So my top view and my right side view in this particular drawing are going to become partial views. The thing that I want to focus the most on is going to be my auxiliary view, which is going to show the true shape of the face. Now, we're going to do the dimensioning a little bit different when it comes to the auxiliary view, because the way they're dimensioned in the book, showing that the center of this hole is 32 up from the bottom of here, and the center of this hole is 48 up from the bottom of here, that's not something that's ever going to be done. That's something that would drive a machinist nuts, would drive everybody involved nuts, because it's not a dimension that you can accurately obtain for the actual drawing. So when you go through and dimension this drawing after it's complete, please do not put in that 32 and that 48, because that is not how it's done. So what I'm going to do, since this angled face is what I want to base my auxiliary view off of, I'm just going to start by offsetting 25, clicking on here, and then locating this line. Now, not in every situation will the 25 work. If the 25 doesn't work, then you have the ability to move it wherever you need to move it to get it to work. But for the purposes of this exercise, the 25 is going to work just fine. Now I want to offset the width of that face, which is 60. I can now draw in my lines that show, and I'm accidentally still on the hidden layer, but I'll go ahead and fix that real quick. Now I want to show the locations of these holes. Now, one thing that it does not do is it doesn't give me a left to right dimension on the hole, so I have to assume that they're centered on the object. So I'm going to offset 20 and come up here and up here. Now I can draw a line from this center point perpendicular to this line, and from this center point perpendicular to this line. And now I can locate my hole. I have a diameter of 12. And I'm going to copy that to all of these other intersections. And then go ahead and erase all of my projected lines. Now, for all intents and purposes, this is everything that I need for this particular view. I am going to put in the R5 fillet on the back side of this object. That's probably the thing most people forget, is that fillet. That's why I waited for the video to do it, so that you all can see that it is there. But one thing that you're going to notice now when you go to dimension this object, when you do your dimensions and you pull, let me draw on a reference line for my dimensions, from that center, in this center, I want to go make sure that I go perpendicular to right here. When you do your dimension, which is going to be an aligned dimension, it's going to come up with some really weird number, 15.94518. It's going to come up really, really weird. I'm okay with a weird dimension in this particular instance. The reason I'm okay with the weird dimension in this instance is because the way they originally dimensioned it was completely garbage. So, based on the original dimensions, you can't actually get a real dimension on this. If we take a look at the overall dimension of this face, again, it's really sort of a garbage type dimension, simply because of the way everything works out. So when you dimension the location of these holes, you're going to see some really weird dimensions, but I'm okay with that. I want you to go ahead and lay them out like they're supposed to be laid out, just for the purposes of this particular exercise. But one thing that I want you to think about as you're going through and doing this is what could have been done to make this thing a little bit easier. Now, I'm not going to ask you guys to put that into any type of paper or anything, but realistically, how is the person who is going to actually make this part going to lay out these holes when we have dimensions like 15.5419528.734 or whatever it was? So just think about that as you go through and you're doing this. For somebody to be able to locate these holes, it has to be done with real dimensions. It can't be done with arbitrary numbers like we have in the book. So the last thing that I want to do is I just want to add a little piece onto this view and this view to show that I'm not doing the whole thing. So I'm just going to put a little line here, and I'm going to copy that line from here to here, and then just add a spline between here. And that lets me know that there is more information up here, but no, I'm not seeing it in this view. And then I'm going to copy this up to right about here, rotate it 90 degrees, and then move this right over to here so that I can complete that view. So again, here we have our partial top, our front, and our partial right side with our auxiliary view showing the detail for where these holes are actually going to be located in this face. Again, center it, dimension it, and it's good to go.